Welcome to Off Air with Christy Capel. Special guest today, one of my favorite people in the world, Leanne Miller. She is huge all across the state of Ohio.
You're so sweet.
We love her in Cleveland more than the rest of you, though. In Cincinnati and Columbus or wherever else you go. But Leanne Miller, for those who don't know, the Butter Queen.
Yes.
Also, she is an Amish Country chef. She's been cooking on Fox 8 News in the morning for how many years?
Well, I met Kenny Crumpton at an IX Center event in 2008.
That's right.
And he gave me Margaret's card and said, you have got to contact our planning producer and one of our executive producers, Margaret. We need you on the morning show. And that was in 2008. Ever since then?
Yeah, she needs her own show, so we need to
sweet.
pump this.
Here.
Get you on the
Come on, pull up
Food Channel,
Network.
right? Also, she married Amish, which is going to be fun to talk about. Her awesome
No,
husband,
I didn't
Dee.
marry Amish. I married an Amish man.
An Amish man.
We are not Amish.
You are not Amish.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
Okay. And then two awesome sons who I just adore, Teddy and Joey. So I'm so glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here. I'm so happy for you and for this podcast.
Well,
and it's about time, sister.
Well, Leanne has been a full force in this, and I just, it's like you go back and forth, and then when you have a couple of people in your inner circle say do it, you listen to those people, and Leanne is one of those.
Well, and sometimes we just get caught in the flow of our life.
Yes.
And we allow ourselves to think that we can't do something new and different. And I think the older we get, the more that can be a real thing. And I'm fighting every step of the way against that because I want to try new things.
Yes.
I want to do new things.
It is hard when you get stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I
yeah.
love what I do, but I feel like there are more platforms, right?
There's more. There's more for you. There's more for all of us.
Yes. And that's encouraging. And that's what Leanne, if you don't follow her on her social media sites, you are missing out.
Oh, you're
because
nice.
she
You're
is
sweet.
a blast. Let's talk about Instagram.
Okay.
First of all,
Yes.
because she is big. If you don't follow her, it's just Leanne Miller.
It's just my name,
All
Leanne
right.
Miller, and it's Leeann Miller. Because there's 400 different ways to spell Leanne.
Exactly.
But it's just the traditional Leeann.
And that's perfect. And if you go find her, you'll start with some frothy coffee first.
Yeah. I love my frothy
So
coffee.
talk about this. You wake up in the morning.
Well,
Do you get up and get ready and then get back in bed and start filming?
Well, Pillow Talk mornings have to get up because I do a series called Pillow Talk. I do that like once a week, usually on Mondays, but it's not a requirement because I'm in charge.
Right.
Of my own social media.
Right.
So, but mostly it's Monday mornings. And so, yes, I get up, get my coffee. I do put a bra on because,
that's
we're
a
family
bit
friendly.
more than I would do, but good.
And then I do crawl back in bed and do Pillow Talk. Frothy coffee is something, it sounds silly almost, but at 55, I'm 55 years old now. Mm-hmm. And I've done a lot of hustle in my life. We've owned businesses and we've ran hard and so many people can identify with jumping up in the morning and just hitting the ground running. And frothy coffee is something that I do to be kind to myself. I do a little extra to my coffee. I have a frother I just bought on Amazon.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, and if you want the link, I have the link saved in my notes because so many people ask for it. But it's only $39 frother, but it'll do cold foam and it'll do hot froth. And I froth my half and half and put that on top of my coffee like I'm my little home barista. And it's just a kindness that I show to myself.
Yeah.
So often we put ourselves, I believe in sacrificial love. I believe in sacrificing for those around you. I believe in that. But I also believe in self-care. And there's a balance. So I
and
do.
some people don't have that balance. And so what are tips to start?
Frothy coffee.
Okay, start with frothy coffee.
Or if you like hot tea, buy a specialty. Buy a tea you wouldn't normally buy.
You're always going to do that first thing in the morning.
And do that for yourself.
Yeah.
Or get a new mascara that's not just the drugstore one. Go to Ulta and splurge a little and do something that is showing kindness and showing care to yourself.
Yeah.
We're good often at showing care and kindness to others, but sometimes we don't show it to ourselves. And I think it's important.
It is important. And if you follow Leanne, she is very inspirational. You could say
thanks.
that you get motivated for the day. day or whatever time of the day it is.
Or maybe I don't get motivated for the day. I share that too.
You do. And that I have that on this paper to ask you. She's also vulnerable. And she shares her faith, and you're just whatever the day brings, you just kind of let it out there. And I think a lot of us hide that on social media, and everybody's perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what we think.
Yeah. And we're not. I mean, and to only show the good parts is not real.
It's not real. So you need to start just letting your hair down.
Yeah. Well, it goes back. It trails.
Post your kids crying, darn it.
Darn it.
They're not all cute.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. No, but it all trails back. When I talk about, or when I think about hospitality, because I love home, and you know that.
Yes.
I love home. When we talk about home, a home is also for ourselves. Mm-hmm. So just recently I put this together for I literally, it was like a light bulb. Home, the reason I show my bed head, and I really show I'm staying in my pajamas all day and I'm binge watching The Last of Us or whatever. Yeah. The reason is because home, I have made home the place that I can be most myself. Mm-hmm. You go into environments. I mean, you go into a TV studio, and you have to. You not have to, but you are called to, and it's appropriate to behave in a certain professional manner. Mm-hmm. My home is like where I'm most myself. Mm-hmm. So when I choose to get on Instagram, I have chosen to be most myself in my home. Mm-hmm. And I think hospitality is more than just a nice meal around a table. It's creating a space where you can be yourself.
Yes. And to feel comfortable. That's my comfort zone, because being on TV for almost 20 years, it's like everything's out there, right? And everything you post, and you're on TV for 6 hours in the morning. And when I go home, it is like shut down. Now I'll post stuff from home, but it's like, that's my safe haven.
Okay, now I have a question.
Yes.
When you go home, right away when you walk in the door, do you take all your makeup off then, or do you wait till the end of the night? I wondered that about
right away.
Just get it all.
I take a shower and I takes minutes to
scrub it off. And
you
put like a messy bun up with no makeup, and Hal is like, there she is. There's my girl.
My husband likes me without all of this on. It's true. Haven't you heard that? I'm sure your husband has said that too.
My husband still wonders why I do it. He's like, why do you put that on?
Oh my gosh, mine does too. I'm like, have you seen me? No. But let's talk about Dee, because I think it's interesting and it's fun to talk about. You married
a man who was raised Amish.
Raised Amish. Mm-hmm. And so talk about what that's been, because you guys have been married for 30 years?
32. Just past 32. Thank you.
That's a big deal.
It is, and anymore it is a big deal. Yep. We met, dated, and got married in 28 days. It was fast. I met him
I think I knew that.
You didn't? Oh yeah. Met him at the end of November, married him on Christmas Day.
Oh my God.
Listen, also, I knew how crazy my family was, so I had to seal the deal quick. I'm like, I gotta lock this down, because once he sees what all he's getting into, he's gonna run.
He's gonna run.
So I dated, met, and married him in 28 days, and we are very opposite, which you know. I am very flamboyant. I'm a 7 on the Enneagram. I'm all about like, whoa, party. Oh, did you know we're having 4 people over for breakfast this morning? I'm very much that person. Yes. Where he is very type A. He's very organized. He's very soft spoken.
He reminds me so much of my husband.
Yes.
Just opposites.
They're very much alike. Yeah. We are very opposite. And that has really worked for us. I mean, it really has. If I would have married somebody my personality type, I probably maybe wouldn't be married anymore, because I am, I'm full throttle.
Right. And Leanna's full throttle.
I am.
I mean, you will know when you start to follow her on Instagram.
Yeah.
But marrying into the Amish life and all of his relatives, like what's that been like for 30 years?
I think I think a question would be to ask my Amish mother and father-in-law, what has that been like, her being married into the family? They have been wonderful. Yeah. My in-laws are incredible people. My mother and father-in-law are so kind and so wonderful. We had a Thanksgiving get together. There were 60 of us, and it was our turn to host. And we have a little house now. We have this tiny 1,400 square foot house. We have a small house.
Used to live in this beautiful country home, but the boys are gone.
The boys are gone.
Yes.
We didn't need all that space, so we did our boys. Listen, I tell the boys, we gave you a gift. You don't know the magnitude of the gift we gave you by purging everything now in our 50s.
Right.
Downsizing. You're not going to have all that stuff to go through. And what I did save were things that were very sentimental and very precious to me. So if they want to get rid of them after I'm dead, that's on them.
Right.
But I did purge what I felt just could go.
Yes.
And we moved, and so we don't have room for 60 people. When we talked about, we went all kinds of directions, like, should we clean out the garage and put tables in the garage and have it there? And we just have so many little kids in our family. We're just a big Amish family. So I was like, we need to rent a space. So I found a place in Amish Country that's beautiful in Fredericksburg. I can't recall the name right now. I think it's called Lighted Lamp. Anyway, they have this great room. And so we brought toys, and we brought cornhole and spent,
and the kids ran crazy.
Yeah, and spent the day there. And I was at I was in Worcester. I was in our local community at a grocery store, and they had this unbelievable display of orchids. Like, I have never seen before or since in a store. They were beautiful. And the orchid that I picked was big and gorgeous, and it was $45. I was like, oh, that's a lot. Yeah. But I'm like, my mother-in-law never asks for anything. She's like my husband. She's just easy, and she's quiet natured, and she's kind and patient. And I'm like, I am buying that for her. Mm-hmm. So I let her for a while on Thanksgiving Day go on and on about that orchid, because I put it on the table where all the food was. She's like, oh, I've never seen such a beautiful. Everybody thought it was fake because it was so pretty. Mm-hmm. I've never seen such a beautiful. And then toward the end of the day, I was like, oh, that's yours. You're going to take that home. I bought that for you. And she's like, for me? Like, she couldn't believe it. She's like, for me? Why? Why for me? And I'm like, because you're amazing. Like, and his family has just been really great. They're very welcoming. When we first got married, his dad kind of had a little come to Jesus talk with me of things that he really felt I needed to know. With going to get-togethers and going, if we ever visited church or weddings, he was like, we want you to dress plain. We don't want you to wear a lot of makeup and pull your hair back. And, and at that time, in the early 90s, I had those long acrylic red nails. Sure. And he's like, and we want you, to just have, your nails plain. And, and I was telling my girlfriends at the time, I'll never forget this. I was telling my girlfriends at the time, and they were like, no, you can just be yourself. And that's, you shouldn't have to And, because that was, in the early 90s, it was like, be who you are. And I was like, guys, how many places ask you to go with no makeup, plain clothing, and just come as you are? I'm like, I'm embracing this. I'm going to do it. And fast forward 5 years into our marriage, I am so pregnant with Teddy. I literally, my mother-in-law made me a jumper to wear to this big Amish get-together we were having with extended family. And it was literally like a tent. I mean, the thing was just this big jumper. It was just this big blue, plain, very Amishy plain jumper. And I was so touched that I asked her to do it for me, and I was so touched that she did. And so I wear this jumper, and, and I've got my hair up, and I'm at this get-together. We've been married 5 years. And all of a sudden, I'm there, and it hits me. He did not tell me that as a way to be selfish or a way to require me to be like them. We were having so much fun. Why it hit me, I guess why I had that epiphany is we're playing dominoes, and I'm with this extended family, and I'm with all these little Amish kids that maybe aren't around a lot of non-Amish people or English people, as we say. And we're all laughing, and I'm one of them. They're treating me like I'm one of them. I'm like, my father-in-law told me all those years ago to be like this so that I would be welcomed and not like, I mean, like I wouldn't be like the little kids wouldn't be staring at my red nails, and I would just be like one of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, he did it for me.
Yeah.
And
you embraced that. You didn't find it as an insult.
No.
Or
I was like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Let's, like,
anywhere where I don't have to get dressed up, right? Yeah, I'm doing that when I go to the country in Arkansas with my husband's family. It's like, just let it all loose.
Yeah, wear the bib overalls and the muck boots and let's go.
That is right. So fast forward now, Leanne owned an inn, which my family
you all came to. Yes.
when you owned it, and it was the most beautiful place, like the most beautiful property. But when you go in and stay, I knew Leanne, but I feel like guests felt the same way, where you were loved, and she fed you so much food. First of all, like we left 5 pounds heavier, but that's what you do. You just feed people.
Yes.
And everything Leanne makes is just to perfection.
Oh, well, thank you.
Really. And everybody says that. But what was that like? I mean, when you own a bed and breakfast for so many years, but you get to meet so many people.
Yeah. I look back on that season of my life, and you're gonna be like, oh girl, I know. Oh, the kids were small. We raised our kids there, and I look back on it with affection and gratitude, but I also feel like a lot of it was a big blur.
Yeah.
Like it felt like we were just moving.
Right.
We were just check out, check in, and it was like the maximum of 21 people. But if you everybody sees it through their own lens, right? So my husband was working full time, so he was just at work and would come home and everybody be checked in, and and our boys see it through a different lens. They now have such great memories, and I do believe that when you surround your kids, especially if you're a small business, and you incorporate your children when they're small, and I'm not saying that your children need to do what you do in business. I mean,
right.
we really advocated for our kids actually not to. We were like, this was our thing. We want you to do your thing.
Yeah.
And because that's kind of a easy thing to do when you're in small business.
Because so many parents pass down their careers, right? Or their family business.
But I do think when your kids are under your roof and you have a small business, it's very important for them to see what you're doing and how you're doing it, and the hard work. And our boys, are wonderful communicators. And I do believe that trails clear back to being around all those people, all those days, day after day after day, more people. And so they became very good at communicating. I remember Teddy, when he was in kindergarten, wanted to put a sign out on the reception desk that said, jokes for sale, 5 cents each. So people, of course, I mean, our average age, our average age person at the inn was over 45. So people would check in and they'd say, oh, we want to buy a joke. So I would have Teddy come out, and he would just stand there so serious, and he'd tell this terrible joke and laugh, and they would laugh, and they'd say, oh, we think that's worth $0.25. And he would just be thrilled. And, I think those experiences are important when your kids are young, to get them in groups of people, to get them engaged in what you're doing, because it also starts to cultivate a level of gratitude.
Yes. And they understand from a business perspective, and then understand from a family perspective.
And from a money perspective.
Yes.
Oh, so when these people stay here, they pay this, but it actually costs us this. So this much money is what we make. So now when I want to buy a pair of tennis shoes, it feels a little different.
Right. Yeah. That's a good point. Teach your kids.
Yes.
Right. Work and pay for your own stuff, no matter what age.
Oh, and now at 29 and 24, it's just a glory to watch.
Is it? So now what are the boys doing?
They both have their own house now. They both they're both homeowners, and it's really so satisfying as a parent when a child's like, well, I didn't realize this. Like, my AC's out. Like, I got to find somebody. And what if I have to get a new one? I'm like, this is homeownership.
Who's going to cook for me? I don't know if I would ever, if Leanne was my mother, move out of that house. Like, what do you cook after Leanne makes food for you for your entire childhood?
They're both very good in the kitchen, but they both love coming home.
Yeah.
They both love, there's lots of requests that happen before they come home, and lots of different things they want me to make. And it's not just the way it's not just the way food tastes. I hear so often from people, especially in my DMs. I'm a DMer. If you DM me on Instagram, I'm going to DM you back. But hospitality and love, hospitality and love to me go hand in hand. But when somebody DMs me and says, I have my grandmother's bread recipe, and every time I pull that out of the oven, it takes me back, right? Yeah. It can make me emotional, because hospitality is not just a meal. It's also the smells. It's also the feelings. It's also the nostalgia of, this reminds me of when I felt so loved.
Yes.
Like I felt loved when we made cookies. Yeah. I felt loved when we were around the table. And, so both of our boys are very good in the kitchen, but they come home and they don't want to do anything. They're so funny. They're like, they want me to, do it all. Now they'll help clean up. They're our whole family. And really it does come from the hospitality and really inviting people over. They were made to help us. I mean, we required that. If you're going to sit at the table and eat, and we're going to entertain your friends, and we're going to make meals, you're going to help clean up.
And Leanne's the one who would always have an open door, right?
Right.
I mean, friends were there just all the time. Just
we were the house.
Yes.
And if you're parenting kids that are at home, I just want to encourage you to be the house. Be the house that
my mom was always like that. Yes. Be the house, because then you know where your kids are.
Yeah, you know where your kids are, and you overhear things.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, yeah, okay, I don't know that. I didn't know you had a crush on that girl, or I didn't know that. Now,
but how do you play it cool, Leanne? Or how did you when the boys were at home?
I just pretend I wasn't listening at all. I was just in the kitchen. Advice. I was just in the kitchen making recipes, listening while they were playing League of Legends in the dining room. I was like hearing what they were saying. And sometimes the kids playing on the other end on League of Legends would drop the F-bomb, or they would, curse, and someone would go, "Hey, my mom can hear you," or whatever. And I'd be like, "Oh, I didn't know that little boy spoke like that."
Right.
We're dropping the F-bomb in 7th grade. Okay.
Yeah. Or your kids are stepping up and saying, "Hey, respect my house."
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not saying that my kids were exempt from doing that themselves. They just knew that I was in the next room and I could hear it.
Okay.
Another thing we did.
They're such good boys, though.
They are great people. They're great humans. You raise your children not as your friends necessarily. When you're raising your kids, you're their authority. You're there to put in place the framework around your house of what you believe and the standards that you set and that framework. And then when they leave, you're not the authority anymore. That's how I feel. Yeah. I'm not their authority anymore. I'm invited into their homes. Right. And so I really am just so pleased that they are great human beings, and we feel like friends.
Yep.
And recently I was telling the story that Joey called me one day, our youngest, who's 24, and he's like, "Mom, how are you doing?" He knew I had something going on that evening. "How are you doing? How's it going? How are you feeling about your day?" And I'm like, "What is happening here? Like this feels like a role reversal." And I'm like, "It's going great." And before he hung up, he said, "Okay, Mom, I love you. Have fun. Be careful." I'm like, what?
Did you ever think you'd hear the day?
I'm like, what just happened? I say, have fun, be careful. And he's telling me that.
And it's interesting, as they grow up, what they repeat, right? Like they were listening when you gave that advice, or
absolutely,
what have you.
But absolutely. If you always take your shoes off before you enter a home, or before you enter your house, they're going to enter somebody's home and they're going to say, "Would you like me to take my shoes off?" Or they're going to. I can't tell you how many mothers, how many people have said to me when I run into them, "Your son, we had him over for dinner and he literally helped me clean up the whole kitchen." And I'm like, well, that's because
I raised them right.
In 5th grade and in 9th grade and in 12th grade, it was like, you're helping clean up.
Yep. And, you don't have one time of having your kid do that's not going to work.
No.
This is
over and over and over and over and over.
Yes. Yeah. But talk about how your faith has helped raise your boys and been in your family. I know that that's a big part of your life. I always say God gives us these kids right on earth to take care of. And then they're really His.
Right.
And so we do our best. And
I have not been afraid of, I discuss this on my Instagram. I discuss it with people in DMs. We have a faith structure. My husband and I adhere to a Christian faith structure, and that's how we raise our children. That doesn't mean that they are always going to walk that path. They might have to walk a different path for a second. They might have to detangle or deconstruct or rethink the way that they really truly believe. And one thing I say often, I've said it to them, and I just said it to somebody yesterday. What is our faith if it's not proven? I don't want our children to be puppets. I don't want them to be like little, like repeat everything I've taught you growing up, and like you can spit out a Bible verse, but have you lived that Bible verse? Like, a Bible verse is so common as, to trust in the Lord with all your heart and not lean on your own understanding. Well, have you ever really had to trust the Lord with all your heart? Because the minute that you have to trust the Lord with all your heart, that's when your faith changes. Yeah. So our kids have kind of walked a path where they're discovering what they truly believe, not just what we raise them to believe. And I think that's important. I think that's important even in our own faith. Right. I can say I believe in God, but unless he shows up and shows me that he's real and that he is what he says he is in my life, then you don't really have much of a faith. I mean, you have something that you say you believe in, but until you walk a road that is like, God, I need you. Like, I need to know you're out there. I need to know you're real. I need to know that you see me. Until that happens in your life, I don't know how deep a faith actually is. Yeah. I hate it. I hate that we have to go through trial and adversity and hardship and pain to really
understand. I think the magnitude that God can be there and work things out.
And it's real.
It is real. And life is real.
Right.
And life is not going to be raindrops or gumdrops and all kinds of, joyous things. But somehow God continues to, walk with you if you let him.
Yeah. And be right there.
And get through some, you've been through some crazy times. You had a friend who just passed away not too long ago.
Yeah. One of my dearest friends.
Friends.
Yeah. And I'm like, I either believe that she is doing what she believes she would be doing, and that's in heaven with a restored full body and waiting on all the people she loves to get there. And, I would love to think that we recognize people that meet us in heaven. I would love to think that. But, I think, and I think we also, I think as a Christian, I think as a believer, we have a certain way that we think life should look. Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. And it doesn't look that way.
No, it doesn't.
and I had a certain way that I had envisioned, how Amy would die. I thought it would be kind of like a Nicholas Sparks movie where she would hold out her hand and I would hold out mine, and it would just be like this sweet passing. Well, death is not that way sometimes. Sometimes if you are really fortunate, death can be a beautiful goodbye. But sometimes it's really hard and messy and painful. I mean, I have friends who have lost parents through painful, hard. It was when your mom passed away. Right? Nobody has a guidebook for that. Nobody prepares you. And certainly your faith takes on a whole different landscape. I mean, I've been through things with faith where I've been like, God, are you really even there? Like, are you like in Fiji or something, man? Are you paying attention? Are you really all things to all people and omniscient and you can see everything? Because right now,
you're not seeing this.
It doesn't feel like you're here, and it doesn't feel like you're seeing this, and it doesn't feel like you're with me. And anytime I felt like that, I mean, that whole feeling in my heart, or something will happen, or someone will call me and just say something where I'm like, yeah, that's the Lord showing up. Yep. That's him saying, yeah, I got you.
Yep, exactly.
You think I don't know? I know.
I see everything. Yeah. And that's when your faith has to play a big part in your life, because, you don't have the answers to probably most of your questions, of why this in life, why that in life.
And there are just some things we are not meant to do in our own strength, I believe.
Amen.
And I need somebody, a power higher than I need someone. I need a being, I need a God that I can say, I got to place this in your hands because I can't do this. Yep. I got to sleep. And, you got to take this from my mind because I can't do it without you.
Right.
I need that.
Yep. Amen. So let's talk. Let's talk about your podcast, because when Leanne and Matt Barris decided to have a podcast, well, that just blows up because that's just natural for them. And now they have like live events, and you can go to these live events and buy tickets and buy mugs and the whole. So talk about your podcast. I am so proud of you.
Oh, thanks.
Because it's a journey of something new, and it can be difficult. But you have a great partner. And Matt's hilarious.
Matt's so funny, and he's very organized.
Yes.
So he almost has like a flow chart. I do not.
Matt, I need you for mine.
I show up. And that's it.
Start talking.
And he's like, he guides it, he produces it, he edits it.
So where do they find you?
It's called These Are Good Days. These are not these are the good old days. Not these are good day. Not these are good days. It's These Are Good Days. I just said that though. But it's These Are Good Days. TAGD. These are good days.
All right.
And it's anywhere podcasts are streamed. It's so fun. We have so much fun. Those live events are just so much fun because we have a live audience, and
I mean, they're selling tickets for this live audience.
Oh yeah, and they sell out like
quick. They do.
And we have one coming up in April. I don't know, but by the time your podcast airs, this particular podcast, we might be sold out. So don't shoot, don't get after me. Don't come for me. Don't come for me if we're sold out. But they sell out, and they're so fun. We are doing a different venue in Amish Country because we want to shop with people the next day at all our favorite places in Amish Country.
If you've never shopped in Amish Country, you're missing out.
It's so good. It's so fun.
Just so fun.
And we blocked off rooms at some of our favorite places. And it's just a podcast is it's just fun.
Yes.
And it's a place where you can be creative. And I mean, and I'm excited to see the interviews you have. I want you to interview Michael Simon because I know he comes here sometimes, and also the Kelsey brothers because they are Cleveland Heights.
I need to find the Kelsey brothers
and get them on here.
They would be so much fun.
So much fun.
But theirs is awesome too.
And you've had great like rock and rollers here because of the Cleveland Rock and Roll Hall.
Right. And so when Leanne and I were talking about this, and she's like, "You gotta do it. You gotta do it." It was too many great guests. I thought, you know what? We only have the constraint in a live newscast is about 4 to 5 minutes for an interview.
Yes.
So we don't ever get to sit down with Leanne and get to know like what she's up to and what's the latest. It's like cooking. Okay, see you later. Out.
Yeah, right.
Go to commercial break.
Right.
So it allows like our guests that we have on the show.
Version. Yes.
Yeah, it's so fun. So anyway, you got to follow her on Instagram. She just recently had a
reel go viral.
Recipe go viral.
Yeah, I did.
Like people were upset.
Well, it's like it has 7 million views, which is insane to me. And of course,
what happened?
I look like a slee stack on the Land of the Lost in this reel. Of course, the one that would go viral is the one where I'm basically almost in my pajamas.
Stop it! You look great, but that's always the truth.
I did snack mix, or I did
like a Chex Mix kind of thing,
like over the holidays, in a food grade safe tub, by the way, because that was one thing that people were up in arms about, is that food safe, which it's so funny to me that people are even concerned about that. Like if you eat out, like, okay, anyway,
they're probably making it in large containers.
But I have this big tub, and that's what I make my snack mix in, because I can stir it all up in there.
Right.
Like, and to me, it's just smart. Well, people lost their, well, not all people, of course not all people, but the comment section got a little crazy. People got up in arms, and here's what I want to say about online pushback, online hate, online things that happen that make you feel less than or make you feel attacked. Is often we have said, and I'm sure this is in TV too, often we have said, especially on social media platforms or in the media, just ignore them. Just ignore those haters. Ignore those people saying those things. Well, you know what? No. I'm 55. I'm a mother, hopefully going to be a grandmother. This Instagram to me feels like a room in my house. Yeah. And you're not going to come in a room in my house and say whatever you want to say to me. I will block you. I will respond to you. And I will kindly say, no, that's not how we're going to speak to one another in here. And so I commented on this one lady, Cindy, and why I know Cindy's name is because over 9,000 people have liked my comment in response to what she said to me. I said to Cindy, like, hey, Cindy, I noticed that you don't follow me, because often people will come in to your Instagram or your Facebook or to a blog post who don't even follow you and go blah, 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 and be rude and unkind. I don't follow you. We've never DM'd. I don't know you. We've never met. I want to just encourage you not to come into spaces and say something unkind or rude that feels like it's sucking the fun and the life and everything out of what I'm doing.
Hashtag Joy Scouts.
Hashtag Joy Scouts. That's why I call my Instagram community. You make your snack mix in your kitchen however you want to make your snack mix.
Right. And isn't it amazing? One small thing can stir up so much anger.
So I just started responding, not to everyone, but I started responding to people because I think we shouldn't ignore bad behavior.
That's my other question, because I've been told the same thing. I've been in this spotlight in news
a long
time, and that's what you're told. Leanne is 100% accurate. Ignore it, move on.
No, I say this is my space.
Yeah.
My Instagram is mine. So you don't get to come in here and say anything that you want to say. And so this one lady's like, this is another thing people love to say. Well, you're in the public. This is a public account. You posted this publicly, so you're welcoming. I said, oh, no, I never welcomed you to come in and say ugly things.
Right.
No, I didn't. This is actually my account. And yes, it's public, but it's my space. So you either be nice and be kind and get a hold of it, or I'm going to gently block you. You're not going to be here anymore.
Right.
Because, it's kind of like your backyard, right? So I feel like you do have a say. Now, should you obsess? Because that can happen too. Should you be in your comments and obsessing over everything everybody says? No.
Agreed. That's too much effort. Why should you have to do that and upset yourself?
I have a friend who's a clinician, a clinical counselor, and she goes, oh, please, I'm begging you, please start going into the rude comments and just put naughty list, because this was right before Christmas. So I started putting naughty list with a Santa emoji. Like when they were being rude, I'd be naughty list, Santa emoji. So then other people in my community who love me, because, I have 45,000 followers on Instagram. That's not a ton. But I have incredible engagement.
Yes.
I have incredible people that engage with me. I go back and forth with people. So some of those people, they were coming, like they had my back. So some of those people started putting naughty lists under other people's things. And I'm like, that's so funny. And then I had people coming in saying, well, I had this one lady comment like, it's very obvious that you don't love your family and you don't care about your friends if you would put bioengineered cereal into snack mix and feed it to them. You don't care anything about your people. And I'm like, wow, okay, sis, I'm going to respond to that. So I responded kindly, because fighting fire with fire doesn't work.
Yes.
To fight hate with hate or rudeness with rudeness, it doesn't work. So then one of my people that like has sat around the table at my house came into that comment and was like, how dare you come into Leanne's comments and say that about her when she is one of the and she just went on and on about me, like, which was so kind. But I was like, people were up in arms for me because they were like, don't you come in here. and I think there's a balance, but I don't think that we should just ignore bad behavior. I don't. And maybe that's the mom in me. Maybe that's the lady in her 50s in me that I'm just not going to have it.
Yeah, but what would you say to the younger girls who may be listening of, social media can be a great thing, and social media can be a
brutal
thing. And these young girls are dealing with that, and they're taking like something like this situation. They would take it to heart. We're older. We've been through life a little bit.
So how I handled it is the first few comments that came in were rude. Those are the ones I responded to. And then people could see how I responded, right? And then I just stopped responding to well, except for naughty list, I did put in there about 10 times. But what I would say to somebody who's younger, if you have somebody say like, that outfit is ugly, why would you ever wear it? To respond in a way that says like, hey, I happen to love this outfit. This is my style. If you dress how you would like to dress, I'll dress how I would like to dress. And if they continue, say, hey, I don't allow this kind of interaction on my page, and I will block you if it continues. And so I probably blocked after the party mix in the tub reel went viral and all those comments happened, I probably blocked 6 people, but out of a reel of 7 million, to block 6 isn't horrible. No. But also, there are bots. There are things that aren't even like real people, I guess, on social media. I don't know enough about it, but I guess there are some accounts that aren't even really like real.
Yeah.
So you just have to watch that kind of thing too. But I do think there is space for being kind and in response of saying like, this is my space. This is like a room in my home, and I don't allow this here.
Yes, so keep that in mind if you're listening.
Yeah.
Yes, that's super important. Well, I think you and I could talk for hours.
We could. We sure could. And we want to keep this around 30 minutes. How long have we gone?
We are now at 40.
Oh, wow. See, that's it. Maybe I'll just come again. Maybe I'll come back.
You can come back on my podcast anytime you want. Next time, bring Matt. He's gonna figure out what I need to do better.
Timmy can help us with a third mic.
Yes.
Your Matt is Timmy.
That's right.
I mean, yeah, he's helping you produce. It always
takes that person to kind of help kickstart.
Yes,
right?
Especially with the audio and the equipment.
Need people that are behind you.
You got to come to one of our live events. New. We would love that.
That would be fun.
That would be fun.
Amish Country is the best place to go. My kids love Amish Country.
I know they do.
We literally go like once every couple of months.
I love that they love it. I know that they love Walnut Creek cheese too.
Love Walnut Creek cheese.
Love it. I'm like
Hirschberger's farm has to be seen.
Yes.
I'm like, the same animals are there, guys.
Hirschberger's truck package or Hirschberger's like petting farm or whatever. It's so fun. And they do such a nice job.
They do.
And they care for their animals. Like this time of year when I drive by there, I'm like, they care for their animals. I love the idea of you building memories with your kids in Amish Country where they will say one day, my mom and dad used to take us down to Amish Country, went to this little petting zoo and went to Walnut Creek Cheese for ice cream. And
you're right. And I don't think about that. Like when you're in the moment, and then all these years pass and they start saying that.
Yes.
I'm going to look back and go, you have no idea how many times you guys went to Amish Country for a year.
Exactly.
And it's like, an hour and a half drive for us.
You're creating like this nostalgic, like sweet memories for them.
Yeah, we have such a good time.
Well, I love you. I'm so proud of you for doing this. Christy Capel off air.
Go to Leanne Miller's Instagram page, all of her social medias. You got to check out some of her recipes. She's always on Fox 8 News in the morning once a month because we won't let her go. So
yes, I love it.
Thanks for coming on.